Let's dive into this week's challenge. Thank you so much for your submissions from last week. We got some really creative submissions from making work out of icing to old collage to cantaloupe and Legos. Really, really interesting results. This week, we're asking you to be social. All right. So the post for this week on QuaranTeen Art is how might we co-create an artwork together with another artist while apart from them. So let's dig into that question and kind of just deconstruct it a little bit. Okay. So the question is, how might you co-create? Co-create means both of you working to create an artwork. Okay. So it's not you creating two separate artworks. Okay. You're creating one artwork. Okay. And it says an artwork, so the artwork isn't defined, which means you have lots of choice this week. All right, we're not asking you to do a portrait this week. It can be any kind of artwork that you'd like, as long as you both have your artistic hands in it. Okay, so the challenge here is that you're making art together. Okay, so how can you show that you're together while you're making your work? Are you going to be making work at the same time on a video call over or Zoom or Twitch or what have you? Are you doing it in stages and passing it back and forth? We'll get into the details on some of those options and what you could do. Okay, so it has to be with another artist. Okay, or artists, really, if you wanted to do it with more for that added challenge. The artist can be another artist in your class, but it doesn't have to be. So we're leaving that open-ended for you, okay? But it does say while apart from them. So it can't be your sister that you're quarantined with, all right? So it has to be someone in a different space, so somewhere else in the world. Okay, so that is the challenge: being together, the process of creating together while apart. All right, so that is your artistic challenge. So your challenge is much more about the process of getting creative this week rather than pulling off a portrait, that kind of thing. Okay, so here's your checklist of things to do. So you got to find a partner, okay, or more than one partner to create with. Okay, so you got to, in your class, at school, maybe not at school, it's up to you. Okay, you have to find someone to create with. You're going to plan out a subject matter or maybe a starting point. Maybe you don't want to entirely plan it out, that you want to leave it to chance and see how the work changes with each artist's hand. But you probably want to start with some sort of starting point. What kind of artwork it's going to be, whether it's a drawing or painting or a collage or something digital or something like that. Then you both need to source materials that you'll need, and then figure out when you're going to create at the same time or not. Maybe you're going to create one after another and kind of send the artwork back and forth until it's finished by taking photographs or something like that. Try to get reactions from both artists online. So at the end of the process, video reaction to like how it went and documenting the process of the art making. Right, this week is all about the process of art making, not as much the product. All right, and then how can you document the collaboration? Can you be making a video as you're creating the artwork itself? How does that process actually unfold for the both of you? Now, how you collaborate, that's a tricky question, right? That's the biggest challenge of the week. There's millions of possibilities for that, but I'm going to give you a few to get your brain started, right? So you can both choose a prompt that you would both react to. So maybe it's like a word or an idea or an emotion or something like that. That is a starting point for both of you. Maybe it's a song that you're both interpreting lyrics of the same song, something like that. So you start on common ground. One option, as I mentioned earlier, is like starting a drawing or starting an artwork, taking a photo, emailing it or sending it along to the next person, who then takes that, prints it, or maybe it's digital or adds to it some way, and then sends it back, and then you send it back again. And so over the course of a few passes, you build the work together, each time responding to what the other person did. and so which kind of leads into the next one, which is some sort of responsive art. So maybe you don't plan exactly what you're going to contribute, but then you send it to them and then they have to respond to it. So maybe they don't respond on the same work. So the work is call and answer kind of work. Maybe it's two halves of the same image. Maybe one of you is doing one half, the other one's doing another half. There's kind of like a story between the two of them, and they're interpreted in different ways, but ultimately they're going to be put together as one work. Or choosing some sort of color palette. Maybe you're like only going to use pastel colors, or black and white, or black and white with one accent color like purple or red or something like that. So you have some common ground. There's millions and millions of ways to how to collaborate, but those are some to get started. On Tuesday afternoon, I'm going to be posting details for a video conference, kind of Google Meet idea session for you and your partner to hop on at the same time with me to kind of bounce ideas off of how you're actually going to pull this off for the week. So your challenge is Monday, find a partner, talk about some ideas. Tuesday, see if you can hop on the Google Meet call at the same time, coordinate with your partner and we can have a bit of a chat about like how you might go about collaborating. Okay, so check Google Classroom for that update. And so here is the creative process for the week that you can kind of like map your week. Okay, so it's a little bit different this week. As I was saying, the idea jam, grab your partner and join. That's the Google Meet details that I'm going to share on Classroom. And then you're going to sketch and thumbnail, and then you're going to want to start creating somehow with your partner. Okay, so partner chat and check in, what's working, what's not. Finish creating on Thursday. Remember to record your artist reactions on Thursday too. Taking a good photo or video of the final piece and sharing it on Google Plus community. All right. So that's the creative process. And as a way to get inspiration at the beginning of the week, I'd suggest digging into, there's a bunch of videos here. These are really cool YouTube videos. Two artists, one canvas, where there's like a street artist and a classical artist, and they meet and they have to create a work together. A caricaturist and a fine art painter, again, meeting, that kind of thing. So that is the ideas for that one. Exquisite Corpse, you may have done before. That's where you draw the top part, which is the head, and then you fold the paper over, and they can't see, but they can just see the connecting lines. And they draw the body and they draw the feet. That's when an exquisite corpse drawing is. But there's a really good YouTube art assignment by Sarah Green, who is John Green's partner, and it's a really good video. There is Meet in the Middle, which is kind of more of a conceptual video for those in some senior grades. The Pandemic Craftivism, that's hard to say, is all about different ways that art and crafters, like they're talking about cross stitch and things like that, are getting together and collaborating in the time of quarantine. So it might give you some inspiration for how to do that. And then the mail art one is about that kind of like back and forth, sending artwork to someone and then having them respond to it and things like that. They talk about like actually mailing work. That might not work within the time frame of our art challenge, and so you have a look at that, but try to think of how you could adapt that to be more digital. All right, so there's some videos you can use as inspiration. The documenting the process is super important this week, and making sure that you're using that. So, and then document the finished product too. Okay, the Turnin Doc is going to look a little bit the same, a little bit different. All right, I'm going to show you. We're calling it the Turnin Doc 3.0. All right, we're always changing it, slightly improving it. So this week's challenge: who's your art making partner or partners this week? The date, and then here is where you're experimenting. You can write in here. You can drop a photograph into this center column. Here's a couple of photos of my work in progress, and so you can share those photos. Here's check out the finished product, and you can drop a photo right into here, and have you posted videos or images in Google Plus? Okay, so we've been suggesting it. We're really looking for you to start to engage in that. And then the Google Photos album link. So last week I posted kind of a tutorial doc on how to get on board with using Google Photos. We want to get everyone on board using Google Photos to document their work, because you can drop a photograph into this center column there, but it really, it's a small image. It's not super good quality. Google Photos is great. All right. It's included in your school account. It's one of the Google products. So check out that video. I'll repost that to get you going on that in a few reflection questions. Okay. So on the left-hand column, one thing to work on, that's for me to fill out. One thing that was amazing for me to fill out, the completed, I'm going to be looking and I'm just going to be giving a check. Did you fill this in? Did you fill this in? Did you go on Google Plus? Did you give me a Google Photos album link, and so on? Okay, so that's kind of what the Turnin Doc looks like for this week. All right, so don't forget to post all those things. And if you're looking for it, QuaranTeen Art has its own website. We have our own Instagram, QuaranTeen Art. Check it out on Instagram. We've started to post some of your work, and it's amazing. All right, so that's kind of an explainer for this week. Hopefully you're doing well. Can't wait to see you on Tuesday for our idea jam, to see what your ideas that you come up with. So find a partner, see how this goes. Can't wait to see how this turns out.